The day I was fired, I stayed silent about the company I secretly owned and the fortune no one knew about. My father spat, "You'll never amount to anything." My husband humiliated me in front of everyone. Weeks later, they were all on their knees, begging for something that was already mine. I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts, in a middle-class neighborhood where lawns were neat and expectations were high. My dad, Henry, was a regional manager at a manufacturing company, a guy who climbed the ladder through sheer grit. He drilled one thing into me from the time I could tie my shoes. Failure wasn't an option. Straight A's were the baseline, not a flex. Second place in a school competition? That meant I didn't try hard enough. I internalized that, chasing his approval like it was oxygen. When I graduated with honors from Boston University, I dove headfirst into the corporate world. While my friends were out living their 20s, brunching, dating, traveling, I was grinding 60-hour weeks at Preston and Shaw, a top marketing firm in Connecticut. Every late night, every missed vacation, every sacrificed weekend was for one goal: making my dad proud. Spoiler alert, his approval was a moving target. A promotion? Good. What's next? A big client win? Don't get comfortable. It was never enough. 5 years ago, I met Richard at a business conference in New York. He was all charm, sharp suit, brighter smile, a sales exec with a knack for making you feel like the only person in the room. We hit it off fast. 6 months later, we were engaged. A year after that, we were married in a lavish ceremony my dad mostly paid for, never letting me forget it. We bought a colonial-style house in a fancy Connecticut suburb, the kind with cul-de-sacs and neighbors who wave but don't really know you. From the outside, we had it all. Richard's sleek BMW, my corner office as marketing director by 31, dinner parties where guests toasted our perfect life. But behind closed doors, things were cracking. The more I climbed at work, the more Richard pulled away. His playful jabs about my late nights turned bitter. "Preston and Shaw owns you," he'd say, rolling his eyes when I got another promotion. He barely acknowledged my wins, always redirecting to his own deals. My dad wasn't much better. Sunday dinners at my parents' mansion were like performance reviews. He'd grill me on my salary, my projects, my next move, while my mom, Elaine, sat quietly, slipping me sympathetic looks but never challenging him. "You need to be CMO by 35, he'd say, slicing his steak without meeting my eyes. "That guy's been in the role forever. He's got to retire soon." My mom would try to intervene Henry, let her eat, but he'd wave her off. It was exhausting trying to be the daughter he wanted, the wife Richard expected, and still hold my own at work. Then there was my secret. 3 years ago, my grandpa, my rock growing up, left me an inheritance nobody knew about. In his letter he wrote, "Audrey, always have your own safety net. Independence is the greatest security." Wise words from a man who saw through the noise. I used part of it to buy a beach house in Rhode Island, just for me. No Richard, no dad, just my name on the deed. I also invested in a tech startup, Horizon Digital, which grew faster than I ever dreamed. I kept it all quiet. Richard had a thing about secrets in marriage, and my dad would have pushed me to invest his way or move to a better neighborhood. That beach house became my escape, my little sanctuary where I could breathe. I'd sneak away for work retreats or girls' weekends, recharging in a place nobody could touch. But trouble was brewing. 18 months ago, new management took over at Preston and Shaw, and the vibe shifted. My new boss, Martin Davis, seemed to have it out for me. My projects got reassigned, my ideas ignored. Presentations I'd slaved over had mysterious errors in client meetings. Emails I sent vanished. Positive client feedback got spun as negative. Rumors of layoffs swirled, and my friend Susan from the creative team warned me over coffee. "They're pushing out the old guard, Audrey. Anyone from before Martin's time is a target." I started dreaming about that beach house more, sensing the ground shifting under me. I had no idea how fast it would all collapse. That Monday started like any other. I was prepped for a big presentation, my notes crisp, my coffee strong, but the conference room felt off. Extra HR people, including Pamela Winters, who never showed up to marketing meetings, were there. Martin walked in, avoiding my eyes. Before I could start, he cleared his throat. "We're restructuring the marketing department," he said, his voice flat. Audrey Wilson will be leaving us today. We thank her for her contributions. The room went silent. My team stared at their notepads or at me with pity. I froze. This is a joke, right? I managed. Pamela slid a severance folder across the table, her face blank. Budget cuts, she said. Not performance-based. It was a lie. I'd crushed every target, landed major clients, earned glowing reviews until Martin showed up. Security escorted me out like I was a criminal. Thomas, the guard, looked sorry as he watched me pack my office family photos, awards, that little plant I'd kept alive for 5 years. My computer login was already disabled. Years of work, gone. Susan slipped in, hugged me, and whispered, "Martin's been meeting clients behind your back. This isn't about budget. Call me." I drove home in a daze, gripping the steering wheel, too stunned to cry. I thought maybe Richard would step up, that this could bring us closer. Boy, was I wrong. When I pulled into our driveway at 11:30 a.m., Richard's car was there, weird for a workday. I called out as I walked in, "Richard, something happened at work." Silence, except for muffled sounds upstairs. His briefcase and jacket were strewn on the staircase. Not like him. I pushed open our bedroom door and stopped cold. Richard was half-dressed, hair a mess, the shower running in our bathroom. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, a text from Jessica with heart emojis. "Who's Jessica?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. His face went from panic to anger. "Why are you snooping? Why aren't you at work?" "I got fired," I said flat. "And you didn't answer me." The bathroom door opened. A young woman in my bathrobe, blonde, mid-20s, froze. "You must be Jessica," I said, eerily calm. Richard tried his sales pitch. "This isn't what it looks like." I cut him off. "It looks like you're cheating in our bed on a Monday morning." He didn't even flinch. "This wouldn't have happened if you weren't a career-obsessed robot," he spat. "When were you last present in this marriage?" 6 months, he admitted, no remorse. Jessica had been his priority. I told them to get out. Richard laughed. "Your house? I pay half the mortgage. And how's that going to work now you're unemployed?" Then he did the unthinkable. He spit in my face. I stood there, stunned, as he grabbed a suitcase, threw in clothes, and left with Jessica, sneering about their new condo downtown. My phone rang. "Dad," a text followed. "Come to the house immediately." I drove to my parents' mansion in Fairfield, trying to rehearse what I'd say. My mom opened the door, whispering in, "He's in his study. William's here too." My brother, always the buffer, sat awkwardly as Dad launched in. "Martin Davis, my golf buddy, called. He said you were let go for performance issues." A lie, and Dad's connection to Martin explained so much. I protested, but he waved me off. "What's your plan, Audrey?" Success requires foresight. When I told him about Richard's affair, he blamed me. "If you'd focused on your marriage instead of your career, this wouldn't have happened." Men have needs. I was floored. My mom tried to intervene, but he shut her down. He gave me a week to get my life in order, or I was out of the family. "Failures don't belong here," he said. I checked into the Harborview Hotel, a bland but safe place to fall apart. Alone in room 214, I sobbed for everything: my job, my marriage, my dad's cruelty, my mom's silence. My phone lit up with missed calls from Sarah, my college roommate, and Megan, my neighbor. I called Sarah, spilling everything. "Stay there," she said. "We're coming." 30 minutes later, they showed up with wine, chocolate, and fierce support. Megan, a divorcee, urged me to get a lawyer. I mentioned Diane Hopkins, who'd helped with my beach house and Horizon investment. "You have a beach house?" Sarah asked. I'd kept my inheritance secret even from them. That night, we made a plan. Called Diane, moved to the beach house, used my assistant Zoe's backups of my work files to fight back. By dawn, I was done crying. I called Diane, a no-nonsense lawyer who laid out a plan to protect my assets and start divorce proceedings. Zoe met me with a hard drive full of evidence. Martin had redirected my client emails, taken credit for my work, sabotaged me for months. I flew to San Francisco to meet Horizon Digital's founders, leveraging my stake to become their chief marketing advisor and pitching a bold move, explore acquiring Preston and Shaw, which was struggling. They agreed. The news hit like a bomb. Tech upstart Horizon Digital eyes Preston and Shaw. My phone blew up with calls from old colleagues and clients. Leaked documents, thanks to Zoe, exposed Martin's misconduct, tanking the firm's stock. He called, panicked, but I was cool. Maybe you shouldn't have lied about my performance. They offered a better severance, well, I took it but kept legal options open. Richard, meanwhile, tried to drain our accounts, but Diane froze our assets. His gambling debts surfaced $70,000 in casino advances. Even Jessica turned on him, sharing texts proving he and my dad had conspired against me. My dad showed up at the beach house, unsure for once. Your mom's worried, he said. I didn't budge. You undermined me, believed the worst without asking my side. He flinched but had no defense. My mom, though, started finding her voice, working at the library, defying him. William left Dad's company, inspired by my rebuild. I launched Wilson Strategic Communications, snagged big clients, and started a mentorship program for women in business. A year later, at my 35th birthday, I toasted with friends at the beach house. Preston and Shaw's CEO offered me CMO, but I turned it down. I'd built something better. Richard was in Vegas, a casino host chasing losses. My dad was slowly changing, my mom thriving, and I was free. Losing everything forced me to find myself. Success isn't a corner office or a perfect marriage, it's living your truth.